Good morning, everybody. It's Marty the JavaScript Party. My buddy Rhett. I got her a nice little almond here. There you go. And it is Wednesday. Whoop, whoop, whoop. The 19th of August. 11 days left in the month. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So, what am I looking at here? All right. So, we have what I would consider a kind of a nightmare scenario. It's not like a true nightmare scenario, like in that, like it's hard for us to deal with, but this is how these scenarios kind of come into play. I've experienced this before, but I've never ever like been here at the moment when the scenario sort of presents itself. And here's the thing is, so this update left position for edit is basically to take this layout class, this function layout class, and it's going to take the width and the height, and it's going to, or yeah, the left and the top, and it's going to apply that. It's going to do whatever it needs to do, which is misspelled because that should be position. I'm amazed at how often I misspell that. Postion, not position. Um, and this should be fairly easy to fix. But the point is that this is how this is done. And I think it's a fully reasonable way, right? Like we have like this utility sort of thing. There's this component layout class. It's kind of a utility. It's just a class that does stuff. And then it doesn't really have any brains. It has no state and all that. And that's fantastic. But on the other side of things, for the width and height, what we have is sort of we publish the value and then some other system outside here. This app layout service couldn't care less how things get laid out with the width and the height, um, because it just publishes it and lets something else worry about it. But with the left and the top, we get like a utility and then we do it ourselves. Both systems, I think, are perfectly reasonable, but having both, like you saw how screwy my wording got, right? Because I'm like, this layout service doesn't care how or why the width and the height is, and that seems like a fully reasonable statement. I'm just going to publish it, and anyone else can listen to it, and if they listen to it, they do it, and if they don't, they don't. Whatever. I don't care what happens outside of this system. But then with top and left, it's like, okay, when I get a top and left signal, I need to go ahead and get a utility that's capable of doing it and use that utility, right? Like those are two totally opposite, like the absolute opposite ways of doing something that's all boiled up into one service. So to me, the question when I'm in these sorts of situations is always how? How did I get here? What in the world was I thinking? This makes no sense. Um, and so how did we get here? How did we get into this scenario? I apologize. I need to get one of those um, microphones that you hook onto your um, shirt, and then so I can have like consistency. Because the problem is as this little thing can point in a million different directions, and if I happen to have it wrong, it can be very hard to hear me. Um, so I apologize if the early part of this was much less loud than this. But okay, so I add a viz, right? And I add a viz, and then I go into edit mode, and then I hit update, and then I say I want to be in this view. And so some system outside just heard that I want to be in this view and that this is the width and the height that I want. And I just published it, and who cares? But then on the other side, I'm like, well, to move it over here, I'm going to need a class. So how did that happen? Well, what happened was I originally, when I started this project, I had a mindset. And my mindset was like, when you need like to create like reusable code, you want a service. And when you create a service, you want to make it ForRoot. And you want to make it ForRoot because, um, why? Why not? It can have a state. There's just so many great things about being able to have a service with a state and be able to just easily just inject it and then just be able to communicate via signals. I mean, that is just so nice. But the problem is that um, um, Angular has this it's a good way of doing it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not criticizing the way of doing it, but unfortunately, it has some like everything else. There's trade-offs, and Angular has this way of doing things where let's say this, where it does this eager dependency resolution, right? So when it goes to create any object in JavaScript, it finds all the dependencies, and if the dependency doesn't exist yet, it creates that dependency. So that's just like a Java thing, an Angular thing. Well, sometimes you want like both, and there's nothing wrong, like from a computer science perspective, as far as I understand. Um, Sometimes you want a uh, a s- a service to include another service, and you want the other service to include the original service. So like the classic example I always use is like, okay, I have a car and it's a service, and then I have a house and it's a service. And then I say, hey, you know what? I would like to start the car from inside my house. So what I need is an instance of car, and I need to put it in house. And then it's just like, well, you know what? I'd love to unlock the front door of the house from the car. So now I need an instance of the house into the car, right? So that's great. Both of those are fantastic. The problem, and there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that in the philosophy, the way that they architected Angular, the how when you go to create the house, it knows that it needs to be able to inject a car. So it goes, hey, let's go ahead and get our car. Oh, a car doesn't exist. Okay, well then let me go ahead and create the car. And then the car says, oh, okay, I'd like to exist now. Well, in order to create a car, I need a house. Oh, well, the house doesn't exist because I can't create the house without the car. But wait, the car can't exist because I can't create the house without the car. So you get this dependency resolution, infinite feedback loop, and the problem, or infinite loop. And the problem with that is then, or the biggest problem with that is that Angular can't catch that during compile time. It only catches it during runtime. So um, if you do that, um, like you won't be able to determine, like you won't see it. So if you do it locally, and that's not that big of a deal because you kind of hop back and forth between runtime and compile time. It's no big deal. But what happens is many times you'll have like a house team at a place and a car team, and the car team goes, "Oh, I need something for the house." Okay, cool. I'll call it a house to get this. I mean, I'll make an instance of house to so that I can interact with the house, and then the house team's like, "Oh, okay, cool. I can just get it. I need to do something with that car, so let me go ahead and get an instance of that." And then both teams are working in parallel just fine. But when they decide, okay, right before the big demo, we're all going to merge our code together, that's when it shows up. And it doesn't show up to anybody locally. It shows up when in the whatever system builds out the deploys it. So so I got away from that and I started making classes that don't have state and they don't have to be injected in each other. But that's how I've ended up with this half and half sort of solution now, which is a disaster, which is going to be baked into the very infrastructure of this application. It's probably one of those things where like I could actually make a fairly decent argument of, hey, let's go ahead and start a brand new one in 2027, like where we don't ever, where we, where that's the second way, the way with using classes is the appropriate way. But anyway, so first thing it looks like I need is an actual viz component, right? And then I need the ST visualization. Um, so I think we do have the components ID. We have the visualization ID, and we have an ST visualization service. And my understanding is that with the visualization service, I can get, this is what we get. Okay, so we have an ST renderer service. And with the renderer service, I can get the visualization. I think I can also get, I might be able to get the component. Probably not. I probably need to get the component from the visualization service. So I think I'm just guessing, but I believe over here to get the visualization, there is probably, okay, so this dot st renderer service dot get renderer by ID. And let's go ahead and comment this out. Wrong one, comment, and then we want to get the renderer. Which is an ST renderer. And I'm kind of doing this from memory and kind of guessing too. And it's this dot edit renderer ID. And that's probably a signal. Is that a signal? Yeah, okay. So now I'm going to console log the renderer ID, ST renderer. And I believe on the ST renderer, then I can get the visualization ID from it. And then with the visualization ID, I can get the visualization. And I think from the visualization, I can get the component. And I don't really have that kind of memory. I've just been working with this for a while. All right, so it is working and rebuilding. And that is good. Let's go ahead and add one. Update. I don't think we will get our left and right console log at this point because oh no, left should be 0. Okay, this is weird. I don't know if this should be getting called or not. But so you notice it was undefined here. This might be old. This might be old from when we when it reloaded. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. We definitely need to search into that. But for the most this part, I wanted to get see so I can get my camera ID and scene ID. What am I trying to get? I'm trying to get my the visualization. Uh-oh. I think maybe it was in the visualization service. I think we might have actually added a new function in the visualization service, if I'm remembering. Maybe that's where that happened. Let's go to visualization. All right. Did we add a get? Okay, get visualization by renderer ID. Okay, so that actually this is what I needed to do, and I needed to do that from the visualization service. Okay, so this was not what we wanted. So I'm just going to comment that out just in case we need it later. And we want the visualization. Const. And I like to add the ST there. So I realize it, so I can be sure it's not a ThreeJS visualization, even though I don't even think they have a concept of a visualization in ThreeJS. This ST visualization service dot get visualization, get ST visualization by renderer ID. pass it a this dot edit renderer ID. And then, okay, what is the problem? Don't understand what's going on here. Okay, what is the problem here? It says fix. Explain. Okay, that's lame. Okay. Oh, okay. So basically, it could be a null that comes back, which is actually absolutely true. So these are nulls. Top should be 0. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. So we'll clear this, and then we'll make this. And we didn't get our. What? It's weird that we didn't get our. Oh, and it's because it didn't change. So it's not re-executing. This is wild. So this is one of those learning curve things from like signals, right? Like a signal will only fire if the value changes. I, I knew that, but I just didn't understand the implications. So now it's not going to fire. Well, left is 0. Oh, this is our. I don't know. I don't know what just happened. I think it didn't fire because, see, I think it won't fire. If I clear this, and I think if I go back, it won't fire. And see, that's probably a problem. Um, um, Actually, it seems like it should fire though because the one of the other effects happened. So actually, I'm very confused by that. And this is exactly where I want to learn this kind of thing. Um, so let's go back to here and at least just double check. Since we were there, I'm pretty sure we have it set up properly to left. Yeah, so this is that. But see, right now it fired, but I want it to actually fire when we're in that other mode, not in this mode. Um, and I thought that, um, oh wow, so it doesn't have a component ID yet at this point either. And it's probably a different component ID. But anyways, see, I thought that if all of these would fire, right? Update. Oh, you know what though? We don't ever listen for the change. So we actually probably just want to execute anytime this presentation signal happens, we want to execute. So I think, and again, we're at this point, so this doesn't execute anything. It just executes everything. I think it's this dot. And again, I don't even know, just to be clear, I don't even know if execute everything when signal changes, when signal changes. Okay, so I think that. I don't know for sure. I think that now that problem is gone because I think clear, and now we'll go here, and I'm hoping, yep. So yeah, it all gets fired here, and I think this will probably have an ID now. Oh no, the viz, so this is a problem, right? Because it doesn't know what the viz component is. Um, I was hoping to be able to get the viz component from here, then to feed it into this class, and then this class would update the width and the height. But for some reason, viz component is -1, which is weird because if we go to our data view, I don't even know if we could see this though now that in this mode. Let's see if we hit back now. See, we have a viz component. Oh no, viz component is -1. Oh, and that's because it doesn't exist anymore. Could have sworn we had gotten to where we had a viz component that would, but actually this is correct though, because the visualization. Oh, but we do have a, oh, this is the, I was gonna say we do have the whole visualization, but we don't have the component. Ooh, Lord. Okay, so somehow we have to figure out, I was hoping that we could get the viz component from here. I don't understand why this viz component isn't updated though at this point. It is weird. Where are you? Oh, I'm not even. So if we go to update, see, like viz component should exist at this point. I think that tells me that I need probably in here, I need to listen for a viz component, a visualization. Well, actually, I think it can determine the viz component though, right? Because let's come back over here. Because we're in update layout service, update layout, I believe knows what the viz component is, right? Okay, it knows what the layout viewer is. This guy knows what the viz component is, right? See, it brings in, so this is the viz component right here. At update is the edit renderer ID. So this is the viz component. So I could get the viz component from right here, an actual reference of the viz component, and then somehow communicate it up to the service. I think that's what's going to have to happen is, and I think it does have an instance of the service. Yeah, so it has an instance of the layout service. So it probably needs to give the layout service an instance of the viz component. All right. So anyways, happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.